guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. For those of you who are new, my name is Brianna. My handle on social media on Twitter or X and Instagram is Brianna Moore. You can follow me there. You can also email me if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to talk about. My email is down in the description box. If you've been following my series, Finding Myself as a Woman in My 30s, thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are coming in with episode 4, and today's F, we're going to be talking about fitness, particularly health and fitness. As you guys know, I am a licensed physician assistant. I've been practicing medicine for 8 years now. And so the aspects of health that I would like to focus on today would be eating habits and exercise. So I know we've been going with the F's, but we're going to kind of pivot and move to the E's for a second. Eating and exercise. Let's get into it. So exercise and eating habits. I can honestly say that there was a switch that went off in me when I hit 30. I have always been my entire life what most people would consider slim, or I've been, more on the petite side. And so in my 20s, I was very reckless with my eating habits. I ate whatever I wanted. I used to go out a lot, so I would drink alcohol socially, regularly. I didn't really exercise. I would exercise here and there, but exercise was by no means a regular part of my life or like a regimented part of my life. People would always joke like, oh my goodness, how do you eat like that and not gain weight? And my response would always be like, oh, when I turn 30, I'm gonna start eating healthy. Like I used to always say that. And honestly, I don't know why I used to say that, but I did used to say that. And honestly, it ended up being true because the moment I turned 30, I was like, okay, it's time to lock in. In my 30s, exercise is a regular part of my life. It's a regular part of my routine. It's a regular part of my schedule. In my 20s, you would only really catch me exercising if I had a trip coming up and I was trying to like drop a few pounds so I would look nice in a bathing suit or something like that. That is absolutely not the case in my 30s. Exercise is built into my day in some form or fashion every day. And honestly, I don't even really feel good physically if I'm not exercising. So not only is exercise beneficial for health reasons, but it just makes me feel better. I'm very mindful to try my best to get 10,000 steps every day. Getting 10,000 steps at work is not that hard because the medical center that I work at is so large and I do walk around a lot and I just use my Apple Watch to track my steps. 10,000 steps is just a great way to just kind of mindlessly burn calories. But sometimes I won't quite hit 10,000 steps at work. And if that's the case, then sometimes I'll just do a couple of laps around the hospital before I leave the hospital to get to my 10K steps. However, outside of getting 10,000 steps a day, my two primary sources of exercise would be walking and Peloton. So I got a Peloton back in 2023 as a means to try to lose a little bit of weight before my wedding. And it ended up being something that I absolutely love. I enjoy my Peloton so much. For those of you who don't know, Peloton is just a bike. You can do live classes, but a lot of the classes also incorporate like upper body workouts too. You can purchase your own weights, rack them on the back of your bike. And so it really ends up being a full body workout because obviously you're working out your legs and then you can incorporate the upper body weights. I love the Peloton. There was a point in my life where I would do Peloton 5 to 6 times a week. In total transparency, I'm on a natural hair journey and I'm on a straight natural hair journey to be a little bit more specific. And so what that means is that I've been wearing my hair in blowouts a lot more, which is not conducive with heavy cardio exercise. And so I started kind of alternating my workouts. So on my weeks where I wasn't wearing my hair straight, I would do Peloton on those weeks. And then on the weeks where I was wearing my hair straight, I would do walking. And so right now it's over 100 degrees outside. So walking outside is not really an option. But where I live, it's usually pretty nice year round. And so I'm able to usually walk outside in the winter, in the spring. And I typically, when I go for my walks, I walk for about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half at a very brisk pace. And that is about 4 to 5 miles. And you burn so many calories walking. And so I love walking. I mean, I'll put on a podcast, I'll call somebody and just have like a casual catch-up conversation. Walking is like a life hack. And now that I'm not able to do my walks outside, I just go to the gym, I'll get on the treadmill, do a little incline of about 3.5, and then I kind of vary the speed between 3 and 3.7, and I typically walk again for about an hour and 15 minutes. I do at least 4 miles, and after my walks, sometimes I may do some of the machines in the gym. It just kind of depends on what I feel. But I am very, very, very mindful to get at least 30 minutes of exercise 4 times a week. And that actually is medically proven that your risk of cardiovascular disease goes down tremendously if you are doing at least 30 minutes of cardio 4 times a week. So truthfully, that's kind of it for the exercise front. I can be honest, I've tried a lot of different things. Like I had a period of time where I was doing solid core, or I had a period of time where I would go to like bar classes. But honestly, I find for me, the most effective workout is the one that I'm going to stick with. And it seems like I would always fall off the ledge with solid core. I would always fall off the ledge with any class that required me to leave the house, because I could always find an excuse like, oh my gosh, today was such a hard day at work. I'm just too tired. I don't feel like going. And that's why Peloton has been such an incredible thing for me, because it brings a level of accountability to myself. I have no excuse for why I can't do it. It's right there in the room. Like there's no excuse. I can't be like, oh, I don't feel like driving. Oh, traffic is bad. Oh, like there's no excuse. I can get on the Peloton before work. I can get on the Peloton after work. So truthfully, I think that the most effective exercise is the one that you're gonna do and the one that works best with your schedule, your lifestyle, and what you enjoy doing. Now on to eating habits. What I will say about my eating habits now is that they are not tremendously different from what they were in my 20s outside of the eating out aspect. I rarely eat out. My husband and I really differ on this point because he's a fast food type of person. He can eat fast food every day. I don't even like fast food. Number one, it's expensive. Number two, I just don't really trust the way the food is being prepared. Like I always just get the ick when I go into fast food restaurants and I'm like, ooh, the floor is kind of dirty. Like, I don't know how the chicken was prepared. And I have like anxiety around like, am I going to get sick if I eat here? Like, I just like preparing my own food. It takes the anxiety out of it. I know exactly how long the chicken was thawed. I know exactly how the food was prepared. I know that the meat was rinsed. I know that my hands were clean when I made the food, and so eating out is something that I'm not going to say I don't eat out at all. I love Chick-fil-A, but I may eat out once or twice a month. The caveat to that would be if I'm traveling. Like obviously if I'm not at home, then I have to eat out if I want to eat. But like on a regular week to week, we cook our meals at home and I enjoy doing that. For the most part, breakfast is usually oatmeal, overnight oats, something like that. Lunch, I'll typically make a salad and take it to work. Dinner, we do a protein, we do a vegetable, and I'm not a huge starch person, but I try to incorporate healthy starches into our meals. So we'll do sweet potatoes, or sometimes we'll do white potatoes or something like that. But I'm not a huge pasta person. I will eat pasta every now and then, but not a huge pasta person. I think my focus when I'm making meals at home is always going to be my vegetables and my protein. And on the topic of protein, I try my best to get protein from actual protein sources, i.e. animal protein, so meat. So, chicken, seafood, red meat, things like that. I don't know if I should say this. I feel like this is like a very controversial topic right now, but as an American society, we are on this crazy protein kick right now. Everything has protein in it. Everything. They have, you name it. Protein cereals, the protein bars, the protein powders, the protein shakes, protein rice. I've seen some protein stuff in the store and I'm like, y'all are just putting protein in everything. And there are studies that are starting to come out that are saying that all the additives in these protein supplements that we're taking may be harmful. And the craze is so new. There's just really not enough data to know what exactly are we putting in our bodies and how is this affecting our bodies long term. So I'm not saying I don't supplement protein at all. Typically in my overnight oats, I will use a little bit of protein powder, but beyond that, I am not one of those people who's like, oh my gosh, I'm counting my protein, my macros. I need this many grams of protein. And in order to get that, I'm eating all these protein supplemental things. I'm not really like that. I mean, if some people are, and that's fine. Personally, I just don't really subscribe to that. That is not for me. When it comes to beverages, I am a water girly through and through. Like, I truly only drink water. Like, we do not keep non-water beverages in our house. Like, obviously, I drink regular water. Like, honestly, I'm surprised my Stanley is not here right now because I don't go anywhere without my Stanley. If I have to run to the store, my Stanley comes with me. I bring it in the car with me. I think maybe I have like water anxiety. I'm just afraid to be thirsty. But I really like flavored sparkling waters, like the bubblies. We keep those in the house. And to me, that kind of like scratches that itch of like needing something carbonated or needing something flavored, but obviously there's no sugar in any of those drinks. Sugary drinks really hurt my stomach. Even like if I'm out getting breakfast or something and I ask for like an apple juice, the sugar in the apple juice, it immediately when it hits my stomach, I'm like, oh my goodness, my stomach hurts. So I don't really drink sugary drinks at all. I think that's another big change in my 30s just in terms of eating habits. I used to drink whatever in my 20s, juice, sodas, all the things. That's not my thing now. It literally makes my stomach hurt. In my 30s, I'm also a lot more calorie conscious. Outside of if I'm actually trying to lose weight, I don't necessarily count calories, but I am mindful of the calories that I am consuming. Around the end of 2024, after I got married, I kind of went crazy. I was eating whatever I wanted. I didn't care. I was kind of eating like I was in my 20s again, and my body very quickly reminded me that I was in my 30s, and I gained 15 pounds. I don't really have any pictures of myself during that time because none of my clothes fit and I just couldn't believe the size I was. But I was like, oh yeah, it's time to lock in. And I put myself on a 1,200 calorie per day calorie restriction, and I was walking 5 miles like 4 to 5 times a week. I wasn't really doing my Peloton at that time, but I was able to drop that 15 pounds over like a 3-month period. So that would be the only time that I would say that I was actually counting calories or restricting calories. But I am very mindful of calories because you just don't realize how many calories are in the things that we consume. You know, the Cinnabons in the mall, I love Cinnabons. That's something that I would just like bust down in my 20s and not think twice about it. We were in the mall and I was like, oh my gosh, it smells so good. Like I want to get one. I walked up and looked at the menu and saw that one Cinnabon was 970 calories. It just blew my mind. And it just really just goes to show that if you are not careful or mindful of your calories, you will likely be eating for 2 or 3 people and not even know it. So I just try to be mindful of my calories. I don't count calories. I'm not strict on my calories, but I am mindful of them. So now that we've talked about the 2 E's and how those look in my 30s, I kind of want to like tie this into health. Obviously, I have to give this disclaimer. Nothing that I'm going to say is medical advice. I am a licensed medical professional, but I think that you should talk to your doctor about what works best for you. These are just my personal suggestions. Up until the time I turned 30, I had never had a physical before. The last physical that I would have received probably would have been in high school when I was getting like my annual sports physical when I was a cheerleader. And I remember telling myself when I turn 30, I'm going to start getting annual physicals. And that is something that I would recommend for everyone. It's important that you're touching bases with a medical provider at least once a year at minimum for basic labs. That would be a CBC to check your blood counts. Are you anemic? Do you have elevated white blood cells? Are your platelets, which are the factors that are responsible for clotting, normal? A CMP to check your kidney function, to check your liver function. Thyroid studies to check your thyroid, A1C to see where you are. Are you pre-diabetic? Do you have diabetes? Are you at risk for developing diabetes? A lipid panel, which tells you essentially how much atherosclerotic plaque you have in your vessels. That would be your cholesterol, your triglycerides. All of those things are predictors of cardiovascular disease, so stroke, heart attack, metabolic syndromes such as diabetes. I think it's very important to know that. So many times in my field, we see patients in their mid to late 30s come in and they're having all these issues. And when you talk to them and you're like, well, what past medical history do you have? They're like, oh, I don't have any past medical history. I don't have any conditions. I'm healthy. And it's like, well, when was the last time you saw a doctor? And they're like, oh, well, I haven't seen a doctor in like 20 years. So it's like, it's not that you're healthy, it's just you've never gone to the doctor before. Another thing that isn't completely necessary, but I would recommend if it's something that your primary care doctor is willing to draw, a vitamin D level check as well as an iron panel check. Here in the United States, the vast majority of us are vitamin D deficient. And there are absolutely no symptoms if you are vitamin D deficient. That is particularly true for African Americans or anybody who's heavily melanated, because our skin just does not absorb vitamin D as quickly as someone who has more fair skin. And while you may not have any symptoms of vitamin D deficiency, we do know that low vitamin D with time can lead to osteoporosis. You can have issues with your bones down the line. And there's even new data that suggests that low vitamin D actually contributes to fibroids, which is another huge issue in women of color. So the reason to know what your vitamin D level is because if you're deficient, you can start taking a supplement, and your provider would be guiding you on how much of a supplement you should be taking, because there is a such thing as vitamin D toxicity. So if you're taking too much of a vitamin D supplement, that could cause a problem too, which is why it's just important to be under the care of a medical professional. Similarly, your iron panel, if you have any history of anemia or if you're iron deficient, people do not realize how horrible low iron makes you feel. So many patients come in and they say, I was just exhausted all the time. I just thought it was because of my kids and my job. And it's like, no, your iron is 3. And that's another easy fix. If you start taking an iron supplement, patients are like, I feel so much better. I had no idea that all along my iron was just low. But these are things that you will never know if you don't get checked out. So I highly recommend annual physicals for everyone, for people who have the means and resources to obtain them. If you have insurance through your job, go establish care with a primary care physician and have an annual physical. Now, going a little bit further, I feel like now my cardiology roots are getting ready to come out. But if your doctor is willing, I would recommend asking them to draw an Lp(a). So as of 2026, the latest ACC guidelines actually recommend that every person have an Lp(a) drawn at least once in their lifetime. So Lp(a) just stands for lipoprotein A. It is a genetic type of cholesterol that predisposes you to heart attacks and strokes. And the reason why it is important to get it checked is because if it's elevated, then there can be early intervention with trying to, one, mitigate your risk factors for going on to have a stroke or a heart attack, whether that's initiation of medications, whether that's aggressive lifestyle modification with exercise and diet, or whether your provider feels that additional testing is needed to take a better look at your coronary arteries to make sure that there are not blockages there. I actually had my Lp(a) checked this year. Most insurances cover it, some do not, but I'm told that if it's not covered, it's about $50. So at the end of the day, in my 30s, health and fitness really has nothing to do with vanity. It has everything to do with stewarding my health and trying to live the longest life I possibly can, as far as it depends on me. Obviously, working in the field that I work in, we see so many lives that are prematurely cut short because of poor habits and just because of people just not caring for themselves or going to regular doctor visits or taking their health seriously. Obviously, there is a completely separate category where some of these things are genetic and completely out of your control. I'm not referring to that, but the things that we can mitigate, eating healthy, making healthy choices surrounding food, moving our bodies if we're able to, exercise, controlling our weight to the best of our ability with the things that we're eating and with exercise, that's what my focus has been in my 30s when it comes to fitness. And so if you guys have any additional questions, please let me know. Tell me in the comments what y'all are doing in y'all's 30s for fitness. I'm curious to know how you guys are managing your fitness in your 30s, it's particularly those of us that have very busy work schedules or married or have kids or things like that, have a lot of different responsibilities that you're juggling. Just let me know. It's the 4th of July if you hear those fireworks in the background. But God bless you all. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.